Hello everyone, Erica here, barefoot instructor. Welcome to Deep Stretch. We're going to start today with our feet wider than our hips, our toes turned out away from the midline and lengthening nice and long up through the spine. We're going to drop our head to one side, add a little weight on top, keeping the chin forward and the shoulders seated. We're going to move that hand to the back of the head, looking down on the same side foot. Option to reach your opposite arm out away from the body. Tuck it behind and hold. We're going to release, do the same thing other side. So drop that head in the other direction, add a little bit of weight on top, seating that shoulder down, keeping the chin forward. Taking the hand to the back of the head, moving to the diagonal line, option to reach the opposite arm out and away, tuck it behind the back and hold. Arms releasing out to the horizon. We're going to take one arm down, reach the other arm up overhead for our lateral stretch. If you don't like your arm here, you can hold on to the side body. You can place it down, hold anywhere on that lower leg. Basically, you can explore until you find a right spot for you. On the next exhale, we're going to contract, glue the belly back to the spine, round over, looking down at the floor. And then we're going to open, top arm circles to the back space first, and then coming around to the front, following that hand and arm with our head in focus. After about 3 of those, on the last one, we're going to shampoo our head. Take that elbow up, open to the ceiling. You can also pull it to the back, keeping the focus up to the ceiling or forward, whatever feels nice for you. On your next exhale, we're going to contract again, letting go, arms coming forward, rounding everything forward, and slowly rolling up, one vertebra at a time. At the top, we're going to roll the shoulders back for 4. And then we're going to switch and do the same thing on the other side. Other hand over, and again, you can explore with where you'd like that bottom arm to go. Find something that feels good for you. On the next exhale, contract, glue the belly button to the spine, rounding over, looking down at that same side leg. And then take that top arm back, nice, long, luxurious circles. Do at least 3. Option to follow with your head in focus, and don't forget to keep breathing. After that third one, we shampoo the hair, keeping that elbow nice and open. You can even pull it in the direction of the back facing wall. You can look up at the ceiling if that feels good, or forward. Next exhale, contract, let everything hang forward. Rolling up. At the top, we're going to add our elbows into those shoulder circles. We'll do this for 4. Taking those toes and turning them forward, arms coming out to the horizon, flat back, reaching the head away from the tail, hovering here, looking down at your right hand, looking down at your left hand, releasing it forward, keeping those arms wide. Plie, bend the knees. Lifting those arms back up, lengthening the knees. This time we're going to keep our arms parallel to the floor if we can, and we're going to reach side to side so that our arm reaching in the back direction goes so far that it can tap. So you can try to see how much mobility you have with just your arm range of motion. You can also swipe the body with you, Soften the knees if you need to. And after you do this a couple times each side, release everything forward again. Shake your head yes and no. Then we're going to reach those hands to the middle. You can keep them here in between the feet, or you can walk them back behind your legs. Take a few breaths here, softening the upper body, reaching the head down to the mat. Option to bend those elbows through to 90 degrees. Bringing the hands back in front of the body, pressing up, looking forward, bringing the focus back down, softening the elbows, softening the knees, letting go of the head, lengthening the knees, pressing through the arms. Deep breath in, exhale, release. You can walk or jump your feet together. Walking those hands up to the shins, looking forward. On the next exhale, release, bend the knees, roll up. When we get to the top, we're going to drop the head down one side of the body and melt over the side body. You can bend your knees when you're ready. Bring everything back to the middle and continue to roll up. When you get to the top, drop your head and melt over the other side. You can soften your knees when you're ready. And when you get to the middle, roll up. This time we're going to bend one knee, whichever knee you bend, roll down that side. We're going to go through center, switching to bend the other knee and rolling up that same side as knees bent. At the top, we keep that same knee bent to go back down. When we get to the middle, we switch our bend, rolling up. At the top, you can take your feet a comfortable distance apart and swing your arms cross and open. If you don't have any shoulder injuries and it feels good, you can also do this on diagonal lines. Next time through, we're going to catch our arm, take it across the front, place, and pull it in close to the body. Even though it seems like the shoulder comes up here, make sure that you're intentionally keeping it seated down. Switch other side. Switch again, this time with a bent elbow, setting the arm back to the back room. If you release your hand here, instead of trying to keep it active, you might feel a bigger stretch in your shoulder. So other than pushing the elbow to the back wall, just kind of let everything relax. Switch other side. And switch overhead. And switch again. Now at this point, if you have a block or anything that you can sort of prop yourself up on, go ahead and go grab 1 or 2 blocks or something optionally that you can use as a block. And if you don't have anything, you might be just fine. These are always optional. I actually like the ones that are a little bit shorter, and these are kind of tall. And we're gonna go back to our wider leg position. So our heels are together, our toes are facing out, and we're gonna keep these close in case we want to use them. I'm gonna demonstrate it with and without. So first thing is we're gonna put our left side toes facing the front of our room, and we're gonna keep our right side toes turning out away from the body. Then we're gonna fold our body over the side where the toes are turned out. Taking a few breaths here, and on every exhale, sinking down a little bit closer and a little bit closer to that leg. Then the toes that are facing the front, we're gonna bend that knee, and we're still folding over the right side, or the side that's turned out. But our bent knee is gonna aim to the front of the room, tracking straight over our toes. Then as we reach our head down, we send our tail up, lengthening back through straight knees. And we're gonna soften both knees, turning both toes to face the right side of the room, making sure our hip is not swinging open, but it's seated down. So at this point, if it's really hard for you to reach the ground, or if you find that you're building up unnecessary tension in your shoulders, the blocks are really helpful here. If that's still not a good solution, you can of course use the taller option. It's just a little bit less stable. So from here, no matter where you are, if your hands are grounded or on props of some kind, we're gonna bend the back knee. Try to keep that heel attached to the mat if you can. Lengthen through, and then we're gonna flex the front foot. If you want a deeper stretch here, you can add the bend back. We're gonna put that front foot down, step the back leg back even further, so we're in a really deep lunge. This is another place where you might want to use props, especially as we start to do our hip circles. So as we circle our hips here, we're trying to find any places that are tight, and if you find one, you can just kind of shift back and forth through that place. You don't have to do continuous circles. It's really more of a movement exploration, figuring out what your body needs. I like to take risks and get that hip really far away from the balancing point. You can focus on whatever feels good for you with or without the blocks. Then we're gonna let that knee drop down, uncurl the toes. On our next exhale, if you have your blocks here, try to see if you can take them away at this point. On the next exhale, we want the hip to just sink closer to our mat. So we're trying to let everything go. If you're ready, bring it down to your forearms. Staying here a few more breaths. If you need to roll up to the outside line of your front foot, you can. You can stay here, or you can reach that right arm up to the ceiling, mobilizing your hand, wrist, and fingers. You can stay here, you can reach that hand and tuck it behind your back and hold, pulling that elbow and shoulder open. Option to look up to the ceiling. You can stay in either of those, or if you want the deepest stretch, bend that left leg and pull it up to meet your right hand. Just a few more breaths. If you've got that foot up, go ahead and let it down. Arm behind you or up in the air, go ahead and bring it forward. Pressing back through straight elbows, replacing the foot back down so the whole bottom of the foot is down. From here, we're gonna walk the foot closer into the midline and try to come to a place where we're in a mostly 90-degree shape. Walk your hands up to the knee, find that balance, tilt the pelvic bone under, and send everything forward. Bring those hands in front of the right leg, sending the left leg back to straight and rotating it out. So we're now turning out, finding our way to the front. If your heel doesn't hit the mat here, it's not a problem. Just try to focus on getting the knee to face outside and is going over your toe. Don't let the knee come in to face the front of the room. We'll stay here for a few more breaths, activating your core, lengthening through your shoulders, neck, and spine. Planting that left foot down, walking our hands up to the knees. We're going to tilt our left shoulder in the middle and look over the right shoulder. Get a nice spiraling action. Switch, dip the right shoulder in the middle. Turn, look over to the left side. And all we're going to do now is switch and do the same stretch sequence on the other side. So now my right foot toes are facing the front, my left foot toes are facing out. If you did enjoy using the blocks, then you want to go ahead and put them on the other side of your mat so they're prepped up and ready to go. So from here, we're going to walk down the left leg. Remember, we're going to stay here for a few breaths. On the exhale, try to get your upper body closer to that leg. We're going to bend that right knee so it comes straight out over those right toes, keeping the body folding over the left side. Sending the top of the head down, the tail up, and lengthening through that right leg. Softening both knees, turning them to face the left side of the room. So again, remember that we don't want our hip swinging open to the front. You'll lose your balance like me. Instead, you want it seated nice and parallel. Option to use your blocks here. Even sometimes if you don't need blocks, like I don't particularly need them because I have that flexibility here, but I do notice that I'm crunching up my shoulders, and so for flexibility, we really want to be more mobile, have more lubricated joints, and we don't want to create tension when we're trying to release in other places. So always have the option to use the blocks if it makes the upper body more comfortable to focus on the legs. So from here, we're going to bend the back leg. And lengthen it. We're going to flex the front foot. Remember, you can use the blocks here if you want. You can also bend the back leg again if you want to have a little bit deeper stretch on this side. Placing that left foot down, picking up that right foot and taking it way back. You always have the option to use your blocks here. We're going to draw circles, so stirring that hip over its center balancing point If you find a place that needs some extra attention, you can go back and forth. Do what feels best for you today. When you're finished, let that knee down, uncurl the toes. On your next exhale, we're just going to sneak that hip closer to our mat. If you're ready, bring it down to your forearms. If you want, you can roll up to the outside line of your front foot. Focusing on our breath here, just getting our body closer and closer to the mat. Keeping that right arm where it is, if you like, you can take the left one up to the ceiling. Mobilize hand, wrist, and fingers. If you want, you can take that arm behind the back, opening up the sternum, pulling that shoulder back, looking up to the ceiling. And if you like, you can bend that right leg, bring it up to the left hand. Focus on your breath. If you do have a hold of that right leg, go ahead and let it down. If your arm's behind your back or up in the air, go ahead and bring it forward. Pressing back up to straight elbows, heel toe, walking that foot in closer to the midline and a little bit back closer to our midline, or to our center body rather. We want to go for that 90-degree angle again, or as much as we can. You can use your blocks again to walk up here if that's helpful. Bringing your hands up to your knee, we're going to check and make sure we're parallel, tucking our pelvic bone under, sending everything forward. We're bringing that weight back into the left side, turning out that right leg. Again, if your heel doesn't come to the ground here, that's okay. Just want to try and promote rotation. So you want your knees facing out away from the body. You don't want it to come floating back in the middle. Knees tracking over the toe. Nice long spine. Relax the shoulders. And when you're ready, you can find a way to seated, taking those hands, fingertips facing the body, pressing it all the way down so the palm is flat on the floor. Flipping those hands over, bringing those wrists to the mat. And rolling those hands one way and then the other. Thank you so much for joining me for Deep Stretch. Hope to see you next week.